Wow! What a show tonight! Man, what a show we had tonight. CM Punk finally got his hands on MJF, and it was an amazing way to end a great show here in Chicago. They killed it tonight, MJF and CM Punk did. Also, the House of Black never looked that much better as they took on the team of a returning Pac and Penta El Zero Miedo. Ruby Soho and Nyla Rose faced off, and they had a great showing against each other. And yeah, even though Ruby Soho lost her match tonight, I firmly believe that she will have a fantastic showing in the Owen Hart Cup when that does take place very, very soon. We got a lot to talk about tonight, guys, and plus we got a ton of news right here on the podcast. This is your official place to be. Sorry. This is your official place to be on a Wednesday night. This is the AEW Dynamite post show right here on Outside the Brand. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining us right here on Outside the Brand. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for your AEW Dynamite post-show review right here on Outside the Brand. It's February 2nd, 2022. I am your host, Phil. And man, we had an amazing show tonight. CM Punk and MJF had an amazing main event here in Chicago, in CM Punk's hometown. And MJF walks away in Chicago to hand CM Punk his first loss here in AEW. This was a fantastic show. From top to bottom, these guys absolutely killed it. Everybody here on this show has killed it for AEW. We had amazing matchups. We had amazing segments. And I know there's going to be a ton of people that are going to be upset with that outcome of MJF beating CM Punk in Chicago, in CM Punk's hometown, but this is exactly what needed to happen. Everything fell right into MJF's lap, and everything was perfect about that ending. There was the point in the match where he got caught cheating, but thankfully Bryce Remsburg, he said, you know what? No, I'm not going to make the decision the other way around. I'm going to have this match continue. And they absolutely did the right decision there, having the match continue. We started MJF and CM Punk at like 9:15 at night. I was like, this has to be the main event. So what's going to happen here? Obviously, they went with the way they did, and it was absolutely booked perfectly. He choked him out with some tape, and then all of a sudden, referee Bryce Remsburg finds it, and he did not reverse the decision. He made it go in the other direction of starting the match over once again. And we had pretty much had a second match between CM Punk and MJF in Chicago. And man, it was just a great way to end the show tonight. The House of Black has never looked any better, man. They faced a team of Pac, a returning Pac, and Penta, El Zero Miedo. And yeah, sure, the return of Pac is very important, and you should take that with the utmost respect and honor. But oh gosh, my hair is crazy tonight, y'all. But you should take that respect with honor. But you can't have Malakai Black and Brodie King lose in a tag match. You just can't. So that was a great way to get everybody's feet wet. And honestly, it was just a great showing for that tag team. And they never looked any better. Ruby Soho and Nyla Rose had a fantastic match tonight. They did. They had a great match tonight. They worked really well together. I didn't think they were actually going to work as well as they did together, but they worked great. Ruby Soho did come up with a loss, but she's going to have an amazing showing in that Owen Hart Cup tournament for the women when that does take place. We don't know when that's going to be taking place yet. We do know that the finals will be taking place at Double or Nothing. So obviously the build-up for Double or Nothing will consist of the Owen Hart Cup for both the men and the women. But man, Ruby Soho, she's definitely going to be put in that tournament, and she will definitely have a great showing in that tournament. We got a lot to talk about tonight, guys. We will talk about that Shane McMahon situation. We will talk briefly. I don't want to get fully into the whole Brian Kendrick situation, but we will talk briefly about it. I think Tony Khan, what he did was absolutely the right move. Obviously, it was the right call to take him off the show, but it was just the right move in order to just, keep AEW out of that business, So I think what Tony did was great. We'll talk about that Shane McMahon situation and everything in between. But first, I want you guys to go follow not only myself, but everybody here on Outside the Brand's social medias. All the TikTok links for everybody is down in the description below. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at PhillyMatt_. That's also my TikTok. But you guys can continue to hit that subscribe button down below, and don't forget to turn on that bell for all notifications. That way you never miss when we go live. Also, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I want this stream to get to 10 likes minimum before we get the hell out of here tonight. I think that would be a great accomplishment, and I think you guys have definitely done this before, so you guys can definitely do that once again. Go check out any of the other videos you may have missed. Tuesday's talk was yesterday, and man, we all had an amazing and engaging conversation about who we think are some of the greatest superstars to ever step foot in a wrestling ring and in the world of professional wrestling. And as well, we also have our Monday Night Raw review up, and what seemed to be for a second straight week, WWE decided to give us somewhat of a decent show on Monday night. I know that's bizarre coming from me, but I have to say it because it's true. It was not a bad show whatsoever, and Loth, who was here, can attest to that. So guys, go check out any of those other videos you may have missed if you guys have not done so already. They're on the homepage for the channel, so you guys can just go right there and enjoy it for yourselves. Make sure you go get your t-shirts and even a nice hoodie if you want to. Bonfire.com is the exclusive home for Outside the Brand and its merchandise. The store is officially live. It's officially live, y'all. So you guys go to bonfire.com, search up OTB or Outside the Brand. It should definitely pop up, and you guys can go right to the store for all the amazing products that we have right there for you guys. The Outside the Brand hoodie and the Outside the Brand t-shirts are all there waiting for you guys to enjoy. I know Saul, we all know Saul here. Saul actually got an OTB hoodie, and he showed it to all of us today, and man, it looks absolutely beautiful. It looks great. The quality of the product, he said, is absolutely fantastic. The comfortability of the hoodie that he has, he says, is like really comfortable, and I'm so happy about that. When we were trying to find a home for Outside the Brand merchandise, we wanted to actually have a good quality product for you guys, and seems like Outside the Brand on bonfire.com is the perfect place for the podcast merchandise. So go check that out if you guys have not done so already. It's live on the channel, and it's live on bonfire.com. So go check that out if you want to support the channel in that sense. All right, guys, final thing. I just want to thank you guys all for the love and support that you guys have shown us here on the podcast. We continue to grow each and every single day, and we could not have done this without all your help. Thank you guys so much, and we will continue on with the AEW Dynamite post-show review right here on Outside the Brand. What's up, man? Hey, Saul, how are you? We're just getting ready for this review of AEW Dynamite. It was a great show, a great show, and yeah, we kick things off with Jon Moxley, and as we all know, Brian Kendrick was supposed to be his opponent tonight. Brian Kendrick was supposed to be making his AEW debut, but due to, let's just say, some controversial comments that he has made over the course of the past few years, Tony Khan said, yeah, AEW is not going to want to associate with that. And yeah, he just took him off the show. And yeah, so they just took him off the show, and we had no idea who Jon Moxley's opponent was going to be up until the point where Wheeler Yuta came out with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. Danhausen was here. And yeah, so it was Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta. And it was a good match. It was a really good match. Wheeler Yuta had an amazing showing against Jon Moxley tonight. He really did. Even if it was a last minute type of thing, he definitely had a great showing in this match against Jon. So Jon Moxley racks the back on the top rope, and Yuta with a headbutt, drop kick, atomic drop, enziguri, and a running forearm splash in the corner. Was absolutely great with that combination. Moxley with headbutts and then a bulldog on the apron was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. Moxley then faces off with Orange Cassidy, and Danhausen distracts Moxley, and Yuta hits a flying splash from the top rope to the floor. Looked great. Yuta then hits a German, covers for a 2 count. Moxley then hits a cutter, which is very un-Moxley-like, but it looked beautiful. And Yuta hits an Olympic slam and a splash from the top rope for a 2 count. Looked great. Moxley then hits a big open palm strike and gets a sleeper on Wheeler Yuta. He escapes, but Moxley then hits a King Kong lariat and hammering elbow strikes to the trapezius muscles of Yuta. Moxley then hits a paradigm shift, covers for the win. There you go. And that's it. Moxley then picks up the victory here on AEW Dynamite. And a great showing. He looks fantastic. He looks 10 years younger, and I can't wait to see what else he does here in AEW now that he's back. It's amazing what 3 months away can do for a man. And that's exactly what happened with Moxley. We all know the reasons why, but it's amazing what 3 months away can do it for you. And that was great. It was just an absolutely amazing showing by Moxley here tonight. And it was a great showcase for Wheeler. I did not really get Wheeler at the time of his first appearances here on AEW, but then all of a sudden, as soon as he actually, he got some repetitions and he actually got some opportunities here in AEW. The kid's good. The kid is very good. And now with all that being said, you can see the growth that Wheeler Yuta has, and he'll definitely be a great asset in that TNT championship scene if they ever see him in that type of light. And I really hope they do, because they got something here with Wheeler. So there you go. Bryan Danielson then appears in the ring behind Moxley. They stare down at each other. Danielson gets a mic and he asks if they want to see him fight. Yes chants ensue throughout the arena. And Danielson says, for a long time, I wanted to see them fight too. Moxley was different. But since he came back, we have seen a new Moxley. Deep inside, there has always been a part of him that wanted to test him. He has been watching, Danielson has been watching Moxley, and Moxley was the best AEW World Champion. If he had a little support, he would still be the AEW World Champion. We shouldn't fight, but what we should do is we should fight together. Danielson says that there is no reason why a millennial cowboy should be the AEW World Champion. There should be no reason why somebody that is dressed as a dinosaur, should be an AEW Tag Team Champion. There should be no reason why somebody that makes vlogs for a living should be the TNT Champion. Shot at not only Hangman Adam Page, not only Luchasaurus, but also the TNT Champion Sammy Guevara. Together, we could run this place. Together, they could take the titles that they want. Yuta is coming out here with jokes. What if we took a guy like him under our wings? What if we took a guy like Daniel Garcia away from 2.0? What if we train the future of wrestling together? Yes chants actually do ensue. And honestly, at this point, I was like, this is honestly pretty interesting. I really do kind of like the sound of that. And it could be just a new career path and career direction for both Danielson and Moxley. Moxley doesn't have an answer right now. He was kind of just taken aback by this. He's like, what's this guy talking about? And Danielson says, listen, I know it's a lot of pressure, so you don't have to say an answer right now. Just think about the greatness that we could create and the legacy Moxley wants to leave. Danielson offers his hand. Moxley just ignores it. And Danielson says, listen, Moxley, just think about it. And then he leaves. This was a very interesting career path for both of them if they actually do choose to do this. I still firmly believe that we will be getting Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson at AEW Revolution. I don't think this is going to be lasting for long. Maybe we actually do get them as a team for just a little bit, and then all of a sudden one of them turns on the other. Obviously, I believe Moxley should stay the babyface in all of this, so Bryan would turn on Moxley. But this is a very different career path for both of them, and you know what? I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I'm kind of enjoying the way they're actually starting this storyline between Moxley and Danielson, so I'm all for this. I really am. So I can't wait to see where they go from this, and this is just going to be a very interesting way to go about this, because Danielson and Moxley are two totally different types of characters. Even though Danielson has turned into like this heelish persona, and he is now officially a heel in AEW after everything that, you know, the whole Danielson and Hangman Adam Page storyline took about. It's just a very interesting career path for these two. They have two totally different types of careers when it comes to AEW, but this could work. This could work for the time being, and this could definitely work for the storyline they're trying to build for the Revolution match, which will happen at Revolution. I still firmly believe that. And like I said, I still firmly believe that we will have Danielson and Moxley one-on-one at Revolution. So I can't wait to see that. And hopefully we will see obviously, as the story progresses, we'll see who turns on who, and we'll figure out everything when that all comes about. We had a CM Punk versus MJF video package before we head to commercial break, and their video packages are top notch, seriously. But we come back from commercial break, and Brandi Rhodes is in the ring. She says that everybody is so nice to her in Cleveland or Chicago. It's the same thing. It's really not. It's really not, but that's just Brandi being Brandi, the absolute heel that she is, or heel that she's supposed to be, or trying to be. By the way, she's absolutely terrible on the mic. It totally showed tonight. But Dan Lambert then just interrupts, which I was very happy about. And he says that she should know how bad it is when people believe in their own bullshit. Brandi then can pretend Cody earned his spot in the company. She can pretend she is the chief brand officer, but that title is as fake as those bolts on her chest. Just absolutely fantastic stuff by Dan Lambert. As those fake bolts popping out of that t-shirt coming from your chest, which is just absolutely a fantastic line by Dan. Then all of a sudden, she can't pretend that she isn't getting boos out of the ring, standing next to an old, conservative, sexist piece of shit like him. Brandi then says that she doesn't understand the beef between he and her. Lambert is doing good. Why is he so mad? Shut the fuck up chants happen in the arena at this time. Brandi says that things are good for him being not great. Shut the fuck up chants still continue. And Brandi says Lambert's best fight got knocked out by Jake Paul. Quote, you should spend less time in AEW and more time in American Top Tits. I mean, team. Same thing. Nobody reacted to that line whatsoever. The crowd was absolutely dead silent at this time. And not dead silent in a good way where like everybody was just putting their phone down and just listening to every single word that everybody is saying in that ring. There was just no reaction because Brandi was just that bad. Lambert then says Cody is a lucky man, but their whole family should just go heel. Brandi then slaps Lambert in a very terrible fashion. And Lambert says that he knew she was going to be in a fighting mood tonight. So what better way than we just bring her out tonight? Her was actually Paige Van Zandt, and she comes out to take down Brandi Rhodes. The AEW women's locker room then empties, and a brawl just breaks out. Van Zandt and Brandi, they get separated, and Van Zandt leaves. This was honestly a really good segment. It was a really good segment. It's just Dan Lambert saved it. Dan Lambert saved it all. And if it wasn't for Dan Lambert, this could have gone really bad. Brandi Rhodes, she's not that good of an in-ring talent. She's not that good on the mic. She's a chief brand officer for a reason. She needs to stay in the back, and she needs to stay her own place. I don't know what this was for. I understand Brandi and Dan kind of have their little thing going on right now. Their kind of little rivalry, but it's not like anything can happen here. Brandi is on an 8-match win streak because she's been facing people on Dark and Dark Elevation. But at the end of the day, she's not a professional wrestler. I understand what she's been trying to do, and I understand she wants to get in the wrestling business, and I understand that she wants to be in the ring. But at the end of the day, you have your place here in AEW. You can stick to that, and you can be okay with that. But they're trying to do something here with Paige Van Zandt and Brandi. I'm here for it. I just want to see where it goes. So we'll see what happens there. Matt Hardy and the AHFO are backstage. Hardy says that he was disappointed in Private Party for not bringing home the AEW World Tag Team Championships from last Friday. Matt says that he wants the TNT Championship. Andrade then appears and says that Private Party lost last week. What's that all about? He doesn't want to make any mistakes. Matt then asks Andrade why Darby has not been signed yet. Andrade says money talks. Hardy says Isaiah will not fail on Rampage as he takes on Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship. So the lights went out and the House of Black make their entrance. And I have to say, Malakai Black's entrance in AEW is fantastic. But adding a special attraction like a Brodie King to it makes it all the more special. It really does. It makes it all the more special, and I love this tag team for the House of Black. Penta El Zero Miedo then makes his entrance, and Pac follows him blinded and needs Alex Abrahantes to lead him to the ring, which is a very good detail. Very good detail there by AEW. We had the tag match between Malakai Black and Brodie King taking on the team of Pac and Penta El Zero Miedo. Great tag team match. Great match. During the point in time, Pac was actually wrestling with the blindfold on. But during the portions of this match, Pac then reveals that he could see. And it was just a normal tag team match from there. And yeah, so it was just it was a great visual seeing Pac just revealing his eyesight once again. And it was just a great visual right there. So we had Black hitting a running knee strike cover for a 2 count. Black then hits another running knee strike. Those 2 knee strikes back to back were absolutely brutal looking. Covers for another 2 count. Pac then hits a German and then a brainbuster cover, and Brodie King actually breaks up the pinfall at the count of 2. Penta and King then tee off on one another, and Penta then hits an enziguri and a splash to the outside. Penta then hits a tope suicida on King, and Penta then hits a super kick, Pac with a super kick, and King blocks the fear factor, but Black then hits the Black Mist on Penta. King and Black do Dante's Inferno and picks up the win. 1, 2, 3. The House of Black get their second win in AEW as a tag team. This was great. Like I said, yes, Pac lost his first match in AEW upon his return, but that is okay. Listen, when you have a tag team that is as special as Brodie King and Malakai Black, you have to treat this as special as it is. You have to treat this as special as it is, and you have to have them win. You have to have them win, and you have to have them continue to stockpile these wins in order to get them to where they need to be. And like I said not yesterday, but like I said last week when we first saw this tag team, they can be a tag team. Don't get me wrong. They can be a tag team. But at the end of the day, Malakai Black can still do his own thing, and so can Brodie King. Brodie King is honestly a very good singles competitor. I just don't want them to be stuck in a tag team for the foreseeable future. They can obviously be world champions here in this company. Brodie King is obviously a TNT world champion in the future. So can Malakai Black. But those guys are world championship material, and they deserve so. So it's cool that they're a tag team, and I want them to be a team, but they can obviously do their singles stuff as well, and I know they will. So it's not all that bad. Adam Cole is backstage, and he says that he is still undefeated, which he is. Orange Cassidy did not beat him, and his record reflects that. He doesn't get the respect that he deserves, he feels, and we will see a new side of Adam Cole on Rampage when he beats Evil Uno. And the world will know exactly what he wants. We have a commercial break here, and then when we come back, Nyla Rose is making her entrance, accompanied by Vickie Guerrero. Ruby Soho is out next. Ruby Soho takes on Nyla Rose, and this was a very, very good very good match. I did not expect this to be I expected this to be a good match, but I didn't expect them to actually work as well as they did. We had Soho and Rose brawl on the apron. Soho then picks up Rose on her shoulders, which looked great. And picking her up on her shoulders is not an easy task. And drops her face first on the apron. Looked brutal. Ruby Soho chants came out throughout the arena. And Rose then hits a spine buster on the outside. Looked great. Then Ruby escapes a beast bomb and hits a no future kick, and Soho covers for a 2 count. And Vickie puts Rose's foot on the rope, so that's what makes it a 2 count. Soho then goes after Vickie. Rose then grabs Soho from behind and hits a neck breaker through the ropes. Soho with a shot on the top rope, and Rose blocks a Hurricane Rana. Soho misses a no future kick, and Rose hits a senton from the top rope, and a beast bomb covers for the win. Nyla Rose beats Ruby Soho here tonight, and honestly, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all, but I think what's going to happen here is I think when the Owen Hart Cup tournament and that bracket actually does come out and we finally get the opponents for that whole Owen Hart Cup tournament, Ruby Soho is going to go far in this tournament. She's going to go far in this tournament. She went far in the TBS Championship tournament. She went to the finals, actually. And Ruby Soho here, she is going to have an amazing showing here in the Owen Hart Cup tournament as well. And I cannot wait for that. If it was me, first of all, Serena Deeb is definitely going to be a part of this tournament. She's going to go far as well. Second off, I mean, I wouldn't have it be Ruby Soho and Serena Deeb in the finals. I don't know who I'd actually put in the finals, but Serena Deeb is definitely going to the finals in my bracket. Whenever that bracket does come out, Serena Deeb definitely has to be in there, and I hope that she will be. The Gun Club attack Jungle Boy backstage, and they brawl to the outside of the building. Billy Gunn then throws Jungle Boy into the snow as Christian Cage and Luchasaurus chase them off. I don't know what the heck is going on with that, but we'll see as time progresses. We come back from commercial break, and Tony Schiavone is in the ring to introduce the AEW World Champion, Hangman Adam Page. And Page says that he has been champion for 81 days and has defended the title twice. He is waiting for more challengers. He doesn't give a shit about Archer. He needs something, anything, but he doesn't need it next week. He needs it tonight. Let's do this tonight. Dan Lambert then comes out with Jake the Snake Roberts. So Jake is back. And Jake says that Paige is acting different. He is acting afraid. Archer then runs down and says, listen, forget this. Forget this. We're doing this tonight. And Paige and Archer brawl on the outside of the ring. Paige then dives on Archer, and they just go blow to blow with each other. And he sends Archer into the steel steps. Paige throws Lambert into the ring, but Archer then kicks and attacks him from behind. Archer then chokeslams Paige onto the steel steps. Archer then hits a blackout through the timekeeper table, and Archer says that he will be the next AEW World Champion. Chris Jericho is backstage. Well, first of all, no. Before we get to Chris Jericho, I think this is going to be a great match next week in this Texas Death Match. We're definitely going to see a different type of both men. Lance Archer is a fantastic in-ring competitor. We've actually talked on Twitter a couple of times. He's honestly a pretty cool dude. But we're definitely going to have to see a different side of Hangman Adam Page. Hangman Adam Page is definitely going to have to bring out something that we've never really seen before with him. It's going to have to bring out a mean streak. And yes, he can bring out that mean streak whenever he needs it. But he's going to have to bring it out in this type of matchup against Lance Archer. A Texas Death Match is no joke. And we're going to have to see what they can do against each other in that Texas Death Match next week on Dynamite when the AEW World Championship is on the line. Jericho is backstage and says that last week Santana and Ortiz were disrespectful. For what? We started AEW together. Does Kingston have a hold over them? Nobody has more of a hold on them than Jericho. He is more of an influencer than Kylie Jenner is on Instagram. He wants the team to have a full-fledged meeting of the Inner Circle next week. What's up, Eric? Kendrick will lose from 2 companies in 24 hours. Wow. Brian Kendrick wasn't actually even signed with AEW. So this was just his test match against Jon Moxley tonight. And if he performed well, he probably would have gotten signed to AEW. But after everything that came out about Brian Kendrick, Tony decided to obviously let AEW not be a part of that kind of a whole controversy, and he did not have Kendrick on the show. And I completely 100% condone that. After everything that Kendrick said, he shouldn't be working in AEW. He shouldn't be working in WWE. He requested his release from WWE. It wasn't even because of these allegations, or not even allegations at this point. He did say those things. And then once all those allegations that turned out to be true came out, Tony's like, yeah, no, we're not going to have AEW be associated with that. So we're just going to take him off. And it was Wheeler Yuta instead of Brian Kendrick in that match with Jon Moxley. So I completely stand by Tony Khan in the way he handled that, 100%. So that's my stance. That's my stance on that. But before we get into the main event, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on by here. I don't know what the heck happened here tonight for YouTube's sake, but obviously we're not as populated as we are usually here on the podcast tonight. That's fine. You guys have your own lives, and everybody here can just watch whenever they want to watch. But regardless, for the people that are here, thank you guys so much for being here on the podcast tonight. You guys have been absolutely killing it, and I cannot thank you guys enough. Even if I have to do things solo here on the podcast tonight, you guys absolutely kill it every time that we're here. So I cannot thank you guys enough. And yeah, man, we're going to get right into the main event of AEW Dynamite, which actually did turn out to be CM Punk and MJF in Chicago. Great stuff there. So, we're going to start from after the picture-in-picture because MJF, because after all of this, then there was some controversy that ensued, and it was just a great moment that happened during that part of the match. MJF works over an injured arm of CM Punk, and Punk with an elbow strike. Then he hits a crossbody from the top rope, and Punk with right hands, then a swinging neck breaker. Punk with a high knee in the corner, and then a bulldog. Punk with a stomp to MJF, and then he hits a body slam on the apron. Looked brutal, absolutely brutal, and I loved it. Punk then offers a fan a chop to chop MJF, and the fan chops him, which was really cool to see. MJF then knocks Punk off the rope and hits a superplex, which looked great. MJF covers for a 2 count, and Punk hits a Pepsi twist, which we have not seen CM Punk hit a Pepsi twist in years. Definitely years, because obviously he hasn't been wrestling in like the past 7. But I haven't seen him hit a Pepsi twist in like maybe 10 to 11 years. It was great. It was great seeing the Pepsi twist back in his arsenal. MJF hides behind the ref and then clocks Punk with his wrist tape. MJF then has a sleeper with the wrist tape hidden, and Punk tries to find out of it, but he starts fading fast, and MJF gets on the body scissors, and Punk is fading away. The referee holds Punk's arm up for 3 times, and Punk does not answer. MJF wins in Chicago. As the referee holds up MJF's arm, he then sees wrist tape. The referee then restarts the match, which was a great decision. I'm super glad that AEW did not say, all right, well, since you cheated, the winner of this match is actually CM Punk in Chicago. I'm super glad that didn't happen, because if that did happen, I'd have a little bit of an issue and we'd have to talk about it here on the podcast. But no, they restarted the match, which is absolutely the right decision. So we had a second match between CM Punk and MJF. This is also just an amazing way to continue on the storyline here. We had about 2 picture-in-picture commercial breaks here, but I'm going to take it from the second one. MJF tortures Punk's leg, and Punk then hits a roll-up, covers for a 2 count. Punk then hits a leg lariat, high knee in the corner, and MJF bites Punk in the hand. Then bites his hand again, and then Punk bites MJF's hand. So they're just biting each other's hands at this point. And then he hits another Pepsi plunge. I was floored at this point. I was like, these guys are absolutely having a fantastic match. Punk then he makes the cover after the Pepsi plunge, but MJF rolls out of the ring. Or he tried to get to the cover, but MJF rolls out of the ring. Back in the ring, MJF with a roll-up covers for a 2 count. Punk then hits a roundhouse kick and climbs to the top rope. Punk then hits a big elbow drop, Macho Man Randy Savage style. Oh yeah, dig it. Covers for a 2 count. MJF then falls out of the ring, and Wardlow comes out onto the stage. When Wardlow comes out, you might want to actually, take cover. So he stares at MJF, then he stares at CM Punk. He gets in the face of CM Punk, and then Wardlow backs away. Punk then throws MJF back inside the ring, and Wardlow distracts CM Punk. MJF then hits Punk with the Dynamite Diamond ring that he possesses, and MJF covers 1, 2, 3. MJF officially wins in Chicago, and he celebrates. Wardlow shakes the hand of MJF, but a recap shows Wardlow actually handed the Dynamite Diamond ring to MJF as he was making his entrance. MJF sits cross-legged in the middle of the ring and laughs as Dynamite goes off the air. He's screaming, "I am better than him, and you all know it." I know a ton of people are going to be very upset with the way that MJF beat CM Punk tonight. That was the perfect way to do it. Perfect way. That was the perfect way to do it, and here's why. First of all, MJF had to be the one to beat CM Punk and had to have CM Punk's first loss here in AEW. That was a must-have win for MJF on his way to a world championship picture. CM Punk is going to be fine. Plus, now with MJF beating CM Punk in CM Punk's hometown of Chicago, this just makes him more of a villain than he should be. MJF is the most hated man in all of Chicago right now. And that is what we all needed to have it as. Now, is there going to be a second match? I don't want there to be. I don't. This is a one-time special appearance, a one-time special attraction type thing. We built this on promos and promos alone, with obviously CM Punk having some matches here and there with the other members of the Pinnacle. This was a one-time thing. I do not need this to drag out all the way to Revolution. Now, with the way that MJF cheated to win, there could be a possibility of a second match, but I do not want that. I don't want that at all. You have this special appearance and you have this special attraction in CM Punk versus MJF, possibly one of the biggest main events on TV history for 2022 already. And this was an amazing match that we got. I saw a ton of back and forth on Twitter today about how this match was going to go, how this match was going to happen, how this match was happening. If people were upset by the outcome, or if people were happy about it, if people were bored, or if people were just really happy that this match is happening on their television screens right now. And people should be very happy, because right now, when it comes to MJF and CM Punk, that was the best way they could have done things. And now with CM Punk having his first loss in AEW, we do not have to worry about who's going to be the first loss anymore. Who's going to be the one to beat CM Punk? Because A, that already happened, and B, it was the right person to do it. CM Punk came to AEW for one thing and one thing only. To help AEW build the future stars of this company. The first person CM Punk chose on his first match back in the world of professional wrestling was against Darby Allin. And yes, Darby Allin lost that match at All Out. But he never truly lost. Darby Allin won that night. Darby Allin won that night because of what they did inside that ring. Darby Allin won that night, even if CM Punk started off 1-0 in AEW. This was the best way to do it. And I'm super glad that Tony Khan and the rest of the AEW team did the match. They had to restart it due to the not interference, but the choking out with the wrist tape. And I'm glad they continued the match. Normally in WWE, you see something like that, they reverse the decision, and that's it. That's final. But this time they did it right. This time they did it right. And at the end of the day, that is what we all want. That is what we want. And CM Punk losing to MJF is not going to hurt him a single bit. Ben Smith says, I did predict that MJF would be CM Punk's first loss. I did too. I wanted it. I wanted MJF to be the first person to beat CM Punk in AEW. This is what CM Punk is here to do, guys. This is what he is here to do. He is help build the young stars of AEW. And that's exactly what happened tonight. MJF is the most hated man in all of Chicago right now. MJF is probably the most hated man in all of AEW right now. Hell, MJF is probably the most hated man in all professional wrestling. This was the perfect way to do it. And guys, I hope you guys can understand that to some degree. And I hope you guys can take this one on the chin if you picked CM Punk tonight in Chicago. I understand the whole thing about CM Punk and everybody wanted him to stay undefeated, but nobody's going to be able to stay undefeated in AEW for that long. Hell, even Jade Cargill will have to have her first loss, but that's a totally different story because now she's a champion. There's a ton of things that went right tonight in AEW with the whole House of Black situation, with CM Punk versus MJF, with Jon Moxley having a great match against Yuta, and Yuta actually having a showcase for himself. Hell, even Ruby Soho and Nyla Rose had an amazing showing. And two women that will perform most likely in that Owen Hart Cup tournament, and they will flourish. They will flourish inside that tournament. Tonight's show was great. And when you're in Chicago, that crowd in itself is always going to be some of the best parts of the show. All right, guys. If you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about before we get the hell out of here, I will stick around for however long you guys want me to. But yeah, guys, tonight was a great show. Hope you guys totally enjoyed it. And yeah, we're going to be talking for just a little bit. You guys can type out anything you guys want to talk about in chat, and I'll highlight it and talk about it with you guys as the show goes off the air. So let's get some music up in here, y'all. All right, guys. Type in the chat what you guys want me to talk about, and I will be doing that for you guys here as we end the show. Ben Smith asks, did AEW release Brian Kendrick? Brian Kendrick was actually not officially signed with the AEW just yet. Brian Kendrick was going to face Jon Moxley on AEW Dynamite tonight, but due to the allegations and due to the, things that he said years back, Brian Kendrick and AEW decided to just decided to have Brian Kendrick not appear on the show tonight. Tony Khan went on Twitter before the show, and I will be reading out Tony Khan's tweet for you guys so that I can actually be credible in saying this. So let me scroll through his tweet. Okay, so here's what Tony Khan said on his Twitter, and I quote, "We've been made aware of the abhorrent and offensive comments made in the past by Brian Kendrick. There's no room in AEW for the views expressed by Brian. We think it's best for all that Brian be pulled from tonight's card. as we gather more info. We'll announce a replacement bout as soon as possible. If you guys don't know what Brian said, I'm not going to be revealing it here on the podcast. You guys can easily find that. It's obviously out there. But I 100% agree with what Tony Khan did. Takes him off the show. And at the end of the day, what Brian said was absolutely horrendous. And I don't even know if he'll be able to work in a professional wrestling company again. Honestly, so we'll see what happens. Brian Smith then comments, I predict that Nyla Rose will beat Jade Cargill for the TBS Championship. I can totally see it. Nyla Rose is fantastic in the ring. I did not really get the appeal of her at first, but Nyla Rose, especially in her match against against Ruby Soho tonight, totally proved that she can be a champion in this company. No, she was a AEW Women's World Champion in this company already. So her beating Jade Cargill for the TBS Championship, I could totally see it. Let me actually okay. Let me get this up for you guys right now. Yeah, she was a champion. In AEW for the AEW Women's World Championship. She was the second ever AEW Women's World Champion. So she can definitely be a TBS champion. Her beating Jade Cargill, I could totally see that. But they'd have to figure out a different type of heel face dynamic in a way. But yeah, I totally be down with that, honestly. But just gotta have the right story and just gotta have the right, face heel dynamic. For sure. What else do you guys want to talk about before we get the hell out of here? I want to at least get this stream to an hour, so I do kind of want to talk a little bit more. If you guys have anything else you guys want to say. It doesn't even have to be about AEW. Whatever topic you want to talk about as the show ends tonight, we can definitely talk about it. Let me just check something real quick for you guys. Okay. All right. I did say earlier on that I did kind of want to talk about the whole Shane McMahon situation. Shane got let go by WWE. Let me actually bring up the Ringside News report about that whole situation. Here, let me see. Do they have it? Yeah, they do. I'll talk about the Washington football team in just a little bit. Yeah, so Shane McMahon has quietly been let go by WWE. Shane McMahon returned to WWE in the 2022 Men's Royal Rumble match. He was supposed to wrestle at Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia and WrestleMania 38, but now plans have been 100% scrapped. Ringside News exclusively reported that Shane McMahon was a nightmare as a producer for the Men's Royal Rumble. He openly buried Jamie Noble and wanted to book the match around himself. There were ramifications for all of that heat, obviously, and a tenured member of the creative team informed us at Ringside News that writers were told in a semi-quiet way that, quote, there will be no more creative discussions about Shane McMahon, end quote. They have now, quote, moved on from to other creative decisions. And that being said, Shane McMahon is no longer on Raw, Elimination Chamber, or WrestleMania. He was previously slated to have a regular role on Monday Night Raw, but Vince McMahon's son has not been an employee of the WWE for a very long time. We were told that he was, quote, supposed to be involved in the XFL, but then COVID hit and the XFL went into bankruptcy, end quote. Shane has not been a WWE employee since he's been back, and Vince also had no choice but to take this action against his own son. Vince had no choice. Shane created chaos, had everyone in an uproar, pissed off everyone in the Rumble, openly buried other producers, and was changing things that Vince wanted. Vince had no other choice but to send him home. The term blackballed has not been used, but he was pretty much let go, and Vince is quietly using the term let go to describe the situation. We'll have to see if Shane McMahon will ever make a return to his father's company, but this run was cut very short. Keep checking in on Wrestling Side News for all the information on this developing story. Point blank, Vince fired his own son. Vince fired his own son, and at the end of the day, it's all Shane's fault. It's all Shane's fault. Shane openly buried Jamie Noble, who was the second producer of the Men's Royal Rumble. He tried to sabotage the entire Royal Rumble to make it all about himself. And he was going to have a match not only in Elimination Chamber at Saudi Arabia, but he was also going to have a match at WrestleMania 38, just like he had a match last year at WrestleMania 37 against Braun Strowman, who Braun Strowman is not even a part of AEW, not AEW, a part of WWE anymore. Shane McMahon did this to himself. And if Vince fires his own son, who else is safe? Who else is safe in this company? They already took everything away from Triple H. He fired his own son in Shane McMahon. What else do I have to say? This company has no idea what the fuck they're doing. And now, with Shane gone, and those plans being completely scrapped, what the heck is going to happen during this road to WrestleMania? I got no idea what the heck is going to happen. And now, as we head into Elimination Chamber, we just have to figure out what the heck's going on, because the Elimination Chamber is in 3 weeks, and then we have WrestleMania, I believe April 2nd and 3rd is the actual date for WrestleMania. We have like 9 weeks until WrestleMania, so we really have to figure out what the heck is going to happen then. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the entire Shane McMahon situation. He did it to himself, and at the end of the day, it's all his fault. It really is. This is the final question before we get the hell out of here. Ben asks, thoughts on the new Washington team name? As we all know, the Washington football team have fully released their uniforms and their official team name going forward. They're called the Washington Commanders. First of all, the uniforms look like ASU. If you guys are a fan of college football, you know ASU very well, and you know the actual uniforms and what they look like. uniforms aren't bad looking by any means, but this name, I firmly believe that the name is not going to stick. I think they're going to have to try to figure out something way before the regular season begins for the next upcoming year, and they're not going to be known as a Washington Washington Commanders. Sorry, going forward, they're not going to be named that. I've seen so much. Seen so much criticism on the name already that the NFL will have to take action, and they will not be known as the Washington Commanders. Going forward, I firmly believe that they're going to have to find something else before the regular season starts. That's for damn sure. All right, guys, that's going to do it for tonight's episode of Outside the Brand. This was episode number 130. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in here on Outside the Brand. If you guys liked what you saw, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to continue to support the channel in any way you can by clicking that subscribe button and turn on the bell for all notifications. That way you never miss when we go live. Also, before we get the hell out of here, I want you guys to go to Outside the Brand's official merch store known as Bonfire. You go to bonfire.com, you click on, you type in Outside the Brand or OTB in the search bar, and you guys will find Outside the Brand official merchandise and the store for it. You guys can get your t-shirts, you guys can get your hoodies. All of that stuff is waiting for you guys to enjoy on bonfire.com. Make sure to go check out any of the other videos you may have missed. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And we will talk to you guys on Friday for not only Friday Night SmackDown, but AEW Rampage as well, where we're going to have a FTW Championship match between Ricky Starks and Jay Lethal. And you also have Sammy Guevara defending the TNT Championship against Isaiah Cassidy. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, we're going to have a fun show for Rampage. We're going to have everything for you guys on Friday with SmackDown and Rampage for your faces. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Have a great rest of your night. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys very soon. Friday, here we come. It's another end of the professional wrestling week. Talk to you guys soon on Outside the Brand.